Well, hello everybody. This is Green Bean, and we are back for episode 3 already. It feels like I just started this yesterday, and we're already at episode 3 of the Jets pod. Little section of it might develop into what we're calling the beanbag. I'm all over the place, but I'm learning, man. I'm learning how to do this while I do it, which I think is the best way because we have some really exciting stuff going on. We have exciting stuff going on. Right now is less than 24 hours since the news floated across our campsite that Adam Gase is no longer the head coach of the New York Jets. I could not be happier about that. It's funny. I talked to a lot of content creators in the Jets realm, and there was someone who said that he received quite a bit of hate, if you will. Maybe not hate, but it's some negative comments toward him for being happy that Adam Gase was let go as the head coach of the New York Jets because he shouldn't be happy that someone just lost their livelihood. Hey, thanks for caring and all that sort of stuff, but let me just give you some basic info. Number one, Adam Gase made $4 million over the last 2 years for being terrible at his job. That's just first. Now, if I'm ever able to make $4 million a year while being terrible, don't feel bad for me. No matter what happens, no matter where I end up, just know that I'm okay with whatever you see happening, okay? Number two, Adam Gase is getting fired 1 year before the end of his contract which leads to what? You want to take a guess? Yes, he was fired today, but like so many of us when we are fired, he did not lose the payment aspect of the contract. So even though he'll be sitting home or going to work for Nick Saban, or like has been rumored, maybe he ends up with the New England Patriots, he's still going to be making $4 million from the Johnsons. He's making $4 million while not working for us. An interesting little tidbit, just so you know how consistent this is with the Jets and their bad hiring. Yesterday was the day that Todd Bowles and Mike Maccagnan both came off the books. They got paid until yesterday. Now, I don't remember the exact numbers of their contract, somewhere in the area of, $2 million a year, let's say. So while they were elsewhere, Todd Bowles, for example, has been the defensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and he's not doing that for free. So he's getting paid from the Bucs. And until yesterday, he was getting a weekly or monthly or yearly paycheck, whatever it is, from the New York Jets as well. Don't feel bad for these guys, everybody, especially when they're miserably terrible at their job. We have been enduring 32nd ranked offense. The defense was kind of okay here and there, but overall, just a piss-poor outing from the New York Jets for the past 2 years. Now, we've been here, like myself, I've been a New York Jets fan since 1982. So I've been hanging around, buying Jets merch, buying Jets tickets, buying those $8 hot dogs, and back when I was drinking the $30 beers, or the $18 rum runners with big old drinks with 1 ounce of booze in it for $18, those types of things. We have been the ones paying this organization, okay? We're the ones watching the TV, which justifies the ad revenue for the TV stations to the networks to give the NFL billions of dollars. So, for the right to show the games, it's us. It's us. The only people to feel bad for are the New York Jets fans, not Adam Gase, not Todd Bowles, not Mike Maccagnan, not Tremaine Johnson, not C.J. Mosley, certainly not Quincy Enunwa, or any of these bozos that are terrible contract people, overpaid and paid far too long past their usefulness to us. They're supposed to be paid to do a job. They can't do the job, but somehow they figured out a way to still get paid by the New York Jets. So Adam Gase is gone. Yes, he's gone from our lives, but Christopher Johnson and Woody Johnson will still be paying this guy for the next 12 months or so. Maybe they give him a lump sum and say, hey, if we could take $10 off, can we, if we pay you now, can we take $10 off? And he may or may not go for that. I'm not sure. That would be up to them. All that aside, let's just move forward with glee that Adam Gase the worst coach in Jets history. In my opinion, he's in the conversation for the worst coaches in NFL history. He's been atrocious. And the thing is this, like I've said numerous times over the past 2 years and in this podcast and on JetNation, we knew and I knew that this hire was terrible and doomed to get here from the second I heard about it. And it was very clear how the Jets fans on JetNation felt that day and that evening. And it was 23 pages of people basically saying, I have no idea what the Jets are thinking or why they did it. It was at the same time that the details of how we lost Matt Rule came out. That we were trying to force, or not we, but Mike McCagden in particular was trying to force coordinators on Matt Rule and didn't want him to bring in his own, which interestingly enough, as you know, one of the guys Matt Rule hired for his Carolina Panthers staff is actually being considered for the head coaching job of the New York Jets. And that, if that's not irony, I don't know what is. I don't know anything that's more ironic than that. If you know, give me a hand. Give me a hand. Give me a comment. So let's back it up just a second. We were in a live stream yesterday. I happened to live stream for just under 8 hours yesterday, about 7 hours and 40-something minutes of pure live streaming, hanging out with you guys. Thank you so much to the people who attended. We had over 1,000 people throughout the day hang out with us, and it was really incredible. You guys are the absolute best, and I appreciate it. When I was done with the JetNation live stream, I went over to World Sports Radio Network, and I was able to sit on their show as well for about an hour and a half. It was really a good time. And then later that night, there was a little bit of a party on Jets Media's YouTube channel with Richie and Ali from loyal Jets fans, loyal New York Jets fans, and Jack. And then we had Ryan from Jets Talk 24/7, Matt O'Leary, and none other than Gangrene David, the legend. We're all there, and we had a good time, so I was also there for that. So let me just tell you how this happened, how we found out the news. This is the statement that was released from our current CEO until January 20th. This is our CEO, the little brother, the people-pleasing wonder boy himself, came out and released this statement. And I'll read it to you now, and then we'll talk about it. So this evening I informed Adam Gase he will no longer serve as the head coach of the New York Jets. This evening, I informed Adam Gase he will no longer serve as the head coach of the New York Jets. During his time here, I had the pleasure to get to know Adam and his wonderful family and wish them nothing but the best moving forward. Well said, Christopher. While my sincere intentions are to have stability in our organization, especially in our leadership positions, it is clear the best decision for the Jets is to move in a different direction. It is clear, you're right. We knew there was a lot of work that needed to be done when Adam joined us in 2019. Our strong finish last year was encouraging, but unfortunately we did not sustain that positive momentum or see the progress we all expected this season. To our fans, and this is where it gets good. That's us. That's us, guys. It's me. He's talking to me. To our fans, it is obvious we have not been good enough. It is obvious, you're right. We are committed to building a strong organization on and off the field and will continue to provide the necessary resources to field a team that you can be proud of. Hey, at least he acknowledged it. At least he owned it. You know, it's a lot of lip service and stuff. Number one, let's just be happy that the damn announcement came because we were getting nervous. We were. We have some regular contributors to our live streams and to the board and YouTube channels and such that were pretty nervous. From what I understand, and this might be inaccurate, Todd Bowles was fired in less than an hour after the game. So the fact that it took, till later in the evening, people started to get squirrely, myself included. I hung out on a live stream for an hour and a half post-game because I thought that it was going to happen right away, and I thought we could sit there, watch it live, and chat about it. So when it didn't happen, we got nervous. So the thing to be grateful for, everything else doesn't matter. It came. So whatever words were in there, I really don't care so much, as long as the words came and the action was put forth. But I want to comment on something. Now that I've said I don't care, let's nitpick it anyway, okay? So let me talk about the fans thing. Now, hopefully, many of you, like myself, have not purchased any Jets merchandise since we established that this season was tank-worthy and that they needed to fire Adam Gase, okay? Me personally, I'm involved in a little bit of a movement not to purchase anything until Adam Gase was fired. So let them know that we are not going to support this. If you're not going to give us something that we can be happy we're involved in or that we can support, then we're not going to support you. You better know that the money's going to stop. Hopefully you were able to do that. I know it's tough during the holidays, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, and all that jazz. It can be difficult, and you just open up a gift and somebody went out and bought you a Jets jersey. I mean, what are you going to do, right? But hopefully we were able to do that and that they felt it, okay? So this sounds like, at least to some degree, they are aware that we are not happy. We are not happy. We've been unhappy for some time. We didn't like the hire in the first place, but we did support it. We did. Myself included. I supported. I even made a video called The Case for Gase where I dug deep, man. I tried to find some reasons to like him. It was tough. It was tough to make that, but I wanted the guy to succeed just like you did. It's really, nothing would have made me happier than for the world to be wrong and for Adam Gase to come over to the New York Jets and bring us a Super Bowl and be here for 50 years and all that sort of stuff. I would have loved it, but we knew, and we never saw anything outside of a couple blips and blops here and there that gave us any reason to think otherwise. So the fact that they're acknowledging us now to our fans, it is obvious we have not been good enough, period. No baloney surrounding it. No, yeah, but. It's just, we know. It's obvious we suck. Okay? We know it. You know it. Period. End of story. We are committed to building a strong organization on and off the field. And that's what Joe Douglas was saying. He wants to create the strongest and greatest environment in professional sports. And Adam Gase can't be involved in that. On and off the field, and will continue to provide the necessary resources to field a team that you can be proud of. So what I'm hearing there is this. The one aspect that the Johnsons can have some input and have it be positive, actually make a difference, is a little bit of the green. So what he's saying there, we will continue to provide the necessary resources to field a team that you can be proud of. In other words, we're going to pay whatever prices Joe Douglas says we need to pay. We're going to do it. Now, I know people say the Johnsons are terrible owners, and I have to agree with you, especially this last decade, with this just maddening hierarchy that the coach and the GM report to the owner when the owner doesn't know anything. It makes no sense. That creates infighting, and it's just not an environment for – it's not a proper hierarchy. It's not. You can't have managers on equal level reporting to the owner, because then there's all kinds of yuckiness that can ensue. I do believe that it was probably at a minimum with Joe Douglas and Adam Gase having a history together, but still, it's dumb. And that was the big problem with Bowles and McCagnon. It was bad. And Gase and McCagnon ultimately. So they're bad owners in many respects. But the one area that you really have to try hard to knock them is the area of giving money where the GM says he needs money, okay? Now, there is an argument to be made that they're cheap on the coaching hires. I'll give you that. I will. And hopefully Joe Douglas can say, hey, look, man, you keep wanting to chintz out on these coach payments. We're not going to get a good guy here. We're going to go through this again in 2-3 years. Hopefully he can get them to raise the money a little bit for the coach. That would be nice. But you look at the contracts these guys have handed out. Mike McCagnon decided it was worth giving C.J. Mosley $5 million more per year than anywhere else was going to offer him. Not $1 million, Not 800,000, not 1.3 million more per season. 5 million per season. For a little perspective, we got Poole for $5 million a year. That's his whole contract. We gave C.J. Mosley $5 million more than he was going to get, and that was already up at $12 million. So the Johnsons bought into that. The Johnsons said, okay, well, if that's what you think is necessary, let's do it. They gave Le'Veon Bell the second highest contract for a running back in NFL history. So these guys, they're not afraid to pay where the GM says they need to pay. So what Chris Johnson is saying there is, hey, look, we're going to continue to give the money where our GM says we need the money. The good news, guys, is we actually have a GM. So this was a pretty good announcement. Again, it is what it is. It's it's just going to be one of those announcements that are pretty vanilla. But the most important thing is they acknowledge the fans, which is important. They don't always do that, guys. And I love that sentence. To our fans, it is obvious we have not been good enough. Period. That's taking it on the chin for us, and I like that. Now, it didn't matter, though, because the announcement was all we needed. And, guys, as of January 4th, 2021, Adam Gase, and therefore Dowell Loggins, is no longer a member of the New York Jets. We no longer have to watch him smelling salts on the sideline or throwing players under the bus or that 4th-and-1 craziness that we watched all year. Terrible play calling, poor game management, zero adjustments. It goes on and on and on. 32nd ranked offense is what he brought to the table this year. And I'm just glad he's gone. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. So let's move on to another little subject. Now that Adam Gase is gone, Sam Darnold had to be discussed, right? So they interview Sam Darnold, and this friggin' guy. And how do you, I find it impossible not to feel bad for him. I just really don't, or not to respect him even. So Sam Darnold is interviewed after the news of the Gase firing. People are interviewing him, and this is what this kid says. Personally, I didn't play consistent enough. I think that's the one thing I'm going to stick to because it's true. I didn't play well enough. The relationship we've built the last few years has been very special. It's obviously very sad news. He also went on to say, I said it once I got here. I want to be a Jet for life. I want to turn this thing around. I know we can. I definitely want to stay here, hopefully, for the rest of my career. Number one, let's talk about the minimal piece of that, the smaller nugget, and then we'll get into the beefy chunk of what he just said there. Number one, the fact that he wants to stay here, he's not looking to run away from the challenge like someone else who we won't name. Some guys are wound in such a way that when the going gets tough, they get going. Like they get running away, okay? That's how it goes with some guys, and they do everything they can to run away from a tough situation. And then there are guys that say, no, I want to be here. I want to help you fix this. I know where we are. I want to help you fix it. That's Sam Darnold, and I got to say I respect him for that. I do. Now, I would love it if he gave us something redeemable, without believing that he needs some time to develop. He needs some time to work on his mechanics. He needs to get his brain straight again, because he's all over the place on the field. I wish there was something. I wish yesterday's game wasn't a perfect ending to the perfect season if you wanted to move on from Sam Darnold. I mean, he gave us nothing to hang on to yesterday. He gave us nothing. So it's sad. It's sad when you draft somebody third overall. You're fortunate enough to get the number one quarterback in the class, the highest rated quarterback in the class at third overall. You gave away a boatload of resources to get there, namely 3 second-round picks over a 2-year period. You gave up all this capital, all these resources to move up there and grab the guy. You got him. and 3 years later, you have to move on from him. Nobody wants to do this. Everybody would like to hear these words and say, that's right, Sam, we got you. Now, maybe if we weren't at the second overall pick, maybe we could do that. Maybe we could, man. But you can't pull the same thing that we pulled in 2017, which is pass on quarterbacks for another position and watch those quarterbacks become legendary while you're still in the quarterback market. You can't do it. You just can't do it. And I know fans, if you're thinking about Sam Darnold emotionally, if you're using your emotions to make this decision, it makes tons of sense, especially after a comment like that. I said it once I got here that I want to be a Jet for life. I want to turn this thing around. I know we can. I definitely want to stay here, hopefully, for the rest of my career. If you're looking at this through an emotional lens, man, you couldn't have wanted to hear anything better from your quarterback after the last game of the season. Okay? But if you're looking at it intelligently, yeah, I know you want to stay here, buddy, then you should have done something a little bit better, like read when the safety's coming across the field. I mean, this is simple football 101 type stuff. He makes the same mistakes over and over. So Sam Darnold, who I do believe is redeemable, I believe he's a good reclamation project. I do. But he needs to go to a team that has somebody, an incumbent starter, that he can sit behind while he does that. While working on your mechanics and all that while you're in the fire, it's not going to work. We've seen it the last 3 years. It didn't work for the poor guy. But the more important thing that he said is this. When asked about the Gase firing, what are your thoughts on the Gase firing? He says, personally, he takes it on himself. Personally, I didn't play consistent enough. I think that's the one thing I'm going to stick to because it's true. I didn't play well enough. Not that Adam Gase is a piece of dog shit. Not that Adam Gase can't make in-game adjustments. Not that Adam Gase's game plans are so rigid and created beforehand and he can't move from them. Not that when tasked with building your career and developing your talent, he didn't even bring in a coach for you. He didn't even bring in an offensive coordinator for you. None of that was mentioned. Sam Darnold took it on himself, this poor kid. It's my fault. I feel bad that Adam Gase was fired. And I got to just say, number one, Sam, it's not your fault. Yes, you didn't play well. I'm not going to try to say anything otherwise. I'm not going to say that Sam Darnold didn't play poorly. But again, the kid's he's 20 years old in his rookie season, the youngest quarterback to ever start an NFL game. He started the whole season, okay? So it wasn't just like one game. He was the youngest starting quarterback in NFL history. The whole coaching staff gets fired after his rookie year. They bring in a guy who's supposed to be a whisperer, a guru, and he's so stubborn and afraid and low self-esteem that he can't even bring in another offensive mind because of it. In his words, I don't want to give Sam Darnold mixed signals. It's not mixed signals. It's called a team. It's called a collective effort. Different perspectives. Somebody to spend time with him. You're the head coach. He didn't even bring in Sam Darnold's quarterback coach. He didn't even bring in an offensive coordinator. And on top of that, he had to overcome the 32nd ranked offensive line in the league and just a complete decimation of receivers and all that sort of stuff. Of course he didn't play well. Now, that's not to say, again, that I think that we should put him in the starting role again. I just don't believe that's the smart move. But come on, man. It's not your fault, kid. Yes, you could have played better, but your situation was about as bad as it gets. And I'm going to say it like this, and I'm going to say it with absolute certainty, and I'm going to stand on this mountain here, on this rock. We ruined that damn kid. Now, he might be able to come out of this, and I do think he can. I do. But this is the one quarterback. I don't believe it's a Jets trait. I don't believe we've ruined other quarterbacks. You saw my video Maybe you didn't. If you didn't, go check it out on JetNation's YouTube page. Do the Jets really ruin quarterbacks? I gave you the whole detailed history of our quarterbacks. But where Sam Darnold is concerned, we ruined him. We gave this guy an absolutely insurmountable hill to climb over and threw rocks and rotten tomatoes at him while he did it. Good luck, Sam Darnold. We love you. I speak for many of us when I say you're a good dude. We wish you nothing but the best. We're all in your corner. We're rooting for you, man. You were a class act the entire time you've been here. You've taken every single stone that's been thrown at you with class. And you got a boatload of talent, and we're wishing you well. Love you. Love you. So, we lost to the Patriots yesterday. Anybody upset? It's such a funny thing with the New York Jets, isn't it? The year split JetNation in two. We had the tank supporters and we had the fans of winning every game. And we bickered and argued all year about it. Who's a real fan? Again, I have a video on that too. I'll break it to you. You're all real fans. We're JetNation. We're alone on this island, man. Make no mistake, everybody's an enemy. They all hate us. We need to stick together. They love to poke us, kick us, laugh at us, and they all talk behind our backs. It's us. So you're all real fans, but that's what this season did. And so a lot of us were rooting for losses against our fandom. Believe me, it's not easy to root for losses. I can attest to this because that's what I was doing. It was not easy to do. Root for your team to lose. It's not easy. But that's what I was doing. While rooting for them to lose, what do? They come out of the darkness and they beat two playoff teams. Both the Rams and the Browns are in the playoffs. Those are the teams we beat. And then so the tank is over. We have an inconsequential game. We can finally root for a win. And what do? They look like turds on a brioche bun. That's what they look like. It's a turd sandwich. And then we get blown out. The score wasn't even as bad as it was. What a bore fest that was, huh? The good news is we were all just sitting there waiting for the news. So the game being that terrible was kind of an afterthought. But, we finally were able to root for a win, and they can't do that for us. And it just shows exactly what we've been enduring this year. I mean, this season was the worst. It was the worst. So now that it's over, I'm going to tell you just a couple reasons why you should be excited. There was another report that came out. Let me get this for you. So here's the interesting things. We all know how I feel about Joe Douglas and all that, and we'll save all the details of what we're going to do, the coaching search and the free agents and the draft, for another podcast. We're going to talk about this, just a couple little X factors, if you will. So Christopher Johnson was asked if the firing of Adam Gase is an indicator that we're going to be changing the hierarchical structure, the reporting structure for the New York Jets. And this is what he says. It's under consideration. Says it's up in the air. It's under consideration. It's up in the air. What that means is this. Yes, it is. We're absolutely not going to have this structure in place because Joe Douglas doesn't want it that way. Okay? The structure is moronic. Now, it would make some sense if you're Jerry Jones or something like that, somebody who's actually running the team and knows what they're talking about. Then you can have that because he's the GM, essentially, right? For somebody like Christopher Johnson, who all it took was a call from Peyton Manning saying, hey, this is a good guy, don't tell anybody, to hire that coach just as a result of the phone call, you shouldn't be on top of the football decisions. It's very, very clear. So what that means is this. We're going to pretend that we don't know that yet. We're going to pretend that it's a process, but absolutely. It's moronic, and Joe Douglas isn't going to have that. He's not going to have somebody he hires on an equal footing with him. It's not happening. Joe Douglas is the boss. Okay? So let me get you another one. So now there are a couple of ways that this was reported. Now, when we're talking about the coaching search, everyone is afraid that the Johnsons are going to be able to override or like kind of have differing motivations on what the correct hire should look like. Big name, more headlines, those types of things. Everybody's spooked and worried about it. And look, you have good reason to be worried. But I'm going to tell you right now, it's not happening like that. So Rich Cimini from the ESPN reported it like this. Johnson, Eli and Douglas. Eli is Jaime Ilal or whatever, is our president of football operations. Johnson and Jaime and Douglas will be part of the search. Douglas is going to be taking the lead on this. His opinion will be taken most seriously. But the decision will ultimately be the Johnsons. And everybody's like, see? It's the same! See, I knew it! Have no fear, guys. This is all spin. Brian Costello reports it that Joe Douglas is taking the lead and he's going to have the most serious opinion. So, guys, what does that tell you? What does it tell you? Right? Joe Douglas is in charge. Now, why do they have to say it like that? I don't know. You know, again, let's not forget that CJ is the little brother. The only reason he got this position with the New York Jets is because Woody got offered an ambassador job for the Trump administration, and he took it. He was over in England, so CJ had his chance. Remember, he was out there arm in arm with the players on the field. He was, he's changing the uniforms, the best uniforms ever. He's making the coaching change. He's firing GMs. So what does it all mean? You have Cimini reporting it one way. You have Costello reporting it another way. You have NFL Network reporting it a different way. And you got Manish Mehta not doing anything because he was fired. And that's another thing. It's like, are you not allowed to feel good that a guy who was stalking people and ruining other people's lives, making up stories, you got to be upset that he's fired? I don't think so. So anyway, you got all these guys reporting the same information in a different way. And it just kind of shows motivations. They're trying to make stories, and I respect that. I understand that. I get it. But the information is very clear if you just look past the spin. What we're really looking at is this. There's a little bit of saving face going on. A little bit. Okay? A little bit. CJ, he's got to walk this back a little bit. He's got to walk this back a little bit because this decision was his. This was not Woody, and I don't know how much he conferred or whatever. He just probably said, yeah, man, do what you think is best. Go ahead, run it. Do what you got. Here's your shot, kid. So he made the decision to keep Mike McCagnon, let him ruin the opportunity to get Matt Rule. Give him $200 million to spend on free agents that don't make any sense, like 2 years in a row with a middle linebacker, those types of things. He's the one that then fired Mike McCagnon after he did all that. And then he's the one that literally pulled the trigger and hired Adam Gase. These are the worst. This is the worst collection of moronic of moves. It's not that some of them weren't good, like getting rid of Mike McCagnon was obviously beneficial, but how he did it. I mean, when Joe Douglas arrived, he arrived here in handcuffs. That's how he got here. We're like, hey, you, with the handcuffs, fix this. That's what we did. So now CJ had the opportunity to make all those decisions and rebuild the Jets. And not only did he not rebuild it, he literally brought on the worst era of Jets football, and that includes Rich Kotite and Lou Holtz. The worst era ever. That's what we've just endured, guys. If you stick with us through this one, you've earned your street cred, my friends. This is the one that you'll be talking about 20 years from now, saying, man, remember that? You don't know nothing. When I was blah, blah, blah. That's just like I do now. I'm like, you don't know. You didn't see the Mud Bowl. You don't know. You never saw the sack exchange. You didn't know how good Freeman McNeil was or Kyle Clifton. Kyle Clifton saw the most underrated linebacker. You're going to be doing that with this era. The Gase era is the worst era of of New York Jets football. And stick with us, because it's only going to go up from here, all right? But why are they doing that? Why are they reporting it this way, and everything? First of all, CJ's saying it. He's got to save a little bit of face. But number two, they're just trying to make stories, guys. They're trying to develop the offseason in the way that's going to get them the most readers. It's fine. What the facts are there are this. Joe Douglas is going to lead the search. Joe Douglas is going to make the final decision, and the Johnsons are going to sign the check. That's what just was said. Are we going to change the hierarchical structure? It's under consideration, yeah. If it was so great, why would you be considered? Of course it's going to change. We all know it's going to change. Whatever process has to happen to get us there, I don't care. I don't. They don't have to come out and allow us to throw dog turds at them. It's not, Game of Thrones. Shame. We don't have to do that. They're not going to allow that. They're not going to take that. It's fine. It'd be nice to get that opportunity, right? Throw some shit at them and all that. But it's not going to happen that way. It's not going down like that. So it'll go down how it has to go down. But I'm telling you right now, and I've been saying it for months, Joe Douglas is the king of New York Jets land. Okay? That's what he is. And he's the most rightful king we've ever had. Another Game of Thrones reference with the Clash of Kings. All these guys saying, but I'm the king and I have the blah, 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 blah. Joe Douglas is the rightful king. He's the proper king, and he's the only king that we want. He's going to prove to be the best GM in Jets history, in my opinion. Now, it's a little bit ahead of the game. I know that's the cart before the horse. I get it, and I'll pull it back just a little bit, but I'm just going to say the order of the day is this. He's the boss, and he's going to be the boss, and that's the boss you want. Don't get caught in the weeds. Don't get caught in the weeds, JetNation. Now, just to wrap this up for today, and we're going to start getting into all kinds of Jets content. This is the offseason. This is when we thrive, man. This is where the Jets are the kings, right? We have like 10 off-season championship banners hanging in the stadium. I wish there was an off-season championship. We would be the best in NFL history, and that's going to continue, but in a good way, not a flashy way. Okay, but this is going to be good. Lots of content, but I just want to give you some updates. The Jaguars fired Doug Marrone. The Chargers fired Anthony Lynn. Obviously, we know about the Texans job, the Detroit job. And the Eagles fired Jim Schwartz, right? So there's some tidbits. Now, I'll tell you right off the bat, I would love Doug Marrone as an offensive line coach. Love him. Think he's fantastic. I think he's a piece of dog shit and should never be able to run an organization again. He's just a jerk-off, man. Pardon my French. I really don't like this guy, it seems. I don't like what he did to the Buffalo Bills, how he did it. We can talk about that. If you don't know, I'll let you know. But it's not cool what he did. And then the whole thing with, the way he handled all his players in Jacksonville and all that. He's just not a good dude. So he shouldn't be running anything. But that doesn't mean he's not an exceptional coach for his position, and that's offensive line. And I'd love to grab him, but we'll see what our head coach wants. Okay? So this is going to be very interesting. But the head coaching search is on. We already sought permission to speak with Eberflus, the defensive coordinator of the Indianapolis Colts. He kind of came out of nowhere. We heard little whispers about him, but it didn't seem like anything real. But that's interesting that the Jets have already sought permission to speak with him. And this is going to keep on rocking, man. It's going to keep going. So let me just tell you, the Monday night mock for this week, the Monday night 10 o'clock mock for this week is going to be the franchise quarterback edition. When we get together, we're assuming in this version we're not going to keep Sam Darnold. Last week we made one that built around Sam. This week we're going to make one that Sam's out, and we'll see what we can do. Do you want to trade back? Maybe see if you can get your quarterback at 4 or 5? You want to see? So we'll see how that goes. Maybe we just take Fields or Wilson or Lance or Jamie Newman at 2. Who knows? Who knows what we want to do? So that's what goes on at the 10 o'clock mock on my YouTube channel. Please like and subscribe. Green Bean Jetsfan, 2 words on YouTube. Green Bean Jetsfan. my YouTube channel, and also my Instagram is GreenBean the Jets fan, Twitter Bean the Jets fan, and as always, you know, I do the on the road with GreenBean show on JetNation YouTube page and JetNation.com, the #1 and largest independent fan site in the entire NFL. If you're looking to talk Jets, that's where you want to go. But all that said, congratulations, JetNation. Congratulations. You've earned it. If you're still here, I love you. If you're still with us, glad to have you. Welcome to the pack. This was a trial by fire. This was your initiation. That's all it was. This was to see if you guys were legit, if you're a newer Jets fan. You passed the test. Welcome to the club. If you want to follow my cross-country coaster tour, I live full-time in an RV. And the goal being to ride all 770-something roller coasters in the United States. I'm 185 in. You can follow that on RVTheming on YouTube. It's really called One Life at a Time, or one ride at a time, but RVTheming's how you get there on YouTube. Please like and subscribe there too. I'd greatly appreciate it. And it's a blast. I let you know what's going on at all the amusement parks around the country and all that jazz. So with that said, have a great day, everybody. Congratulations again. I'm very happy for you. The Adam Gase is gone. Relish in it. Roll yourself in whipped cream or something like that. Do something good. Enjoy it. Go Jets.